Choppy waters. Both Hamilton and Rosberg are 29 years of age, and the feuding stars are once again proving a real headache to Mercedes. The team's motorsport boss, Toto Wolff, indicating that Rosberg could not expect to get off lightly. If Lewis has said that it's going to be a slap on the wrist and that there's going to be no consequence, then he's not aware of what consequences we can implement. Today we've seen the limits of the slap on the wrist. Maybe the slap on the wrist is not enough. What a weekend it was. Without further ado, I want to bring in Christian Sylt, F1 correspondent for Britain's independent newspaper. Christian, thanks for joining us. An extraordinary series of developments. Toto Wolff insisting the meaning of Rosberg's comments during a private team meeting after the race had been misinterpreted. How do you interpret them?
Well, I mean, I think that it's obviously a very difficult situation, firstly, for Mercedes to manage, because obviously they're in the lead in the World Championship, and you've got Rosberg, who is indeed leading the World Championship, as you say, by a significant number of points. So Mercedes has got to try and put the best spin on it. That's the first point that I think needs to be made. But secondly, it's obviously, again, a very heated situation. Firstly, on track, it was clearly very heated. You've got Rosberg and his key rival Hamilton, who were obviously in very close proximity. Then you have Hamilton that ends up in this situation, and after the race you've got Rosberg, who was perhaps again in another heated environment, saying, well, I did it to prove a point. Apparently he was referring to the fact that he could have backed down in terms of rather than cutting into Hamilton, but nevertheless it's clearly an explosive situation.
Look, you've seen the incident, you've seen the replays. What's your take on it?
I don't think there's any doubt that Rosberg could have avoided it, and that's the key scenario here, is that Mercedes, essentially, as you say, Hamilton ended up retiring. Mercedes lost points because basically their car is otherwise bulletproof. It seems ridiculous that its own drivers are taking each other out. That's the key point that one has to take away from this.
Look, these guys, Christian, they used to be friends. They're contracted, though, to work together at least until the end of next year.
Yeah.
How low has their relationship now sunk, do you feel?
Well, I mean, I think it's basically as low as it can possibly get, and we've seen this in Formula One before, historically. Prost, Senna, you know, you've even had, going way back, or relatively recent, compared to relatively recently, we had Alonso at McLaren when he had to leave with a partnership with Hamilton. So, I mean, you know, this idea of warring teammates isn't particularly new. I think the interesting part here really is Toto Wolff's comment about the slap on the wrist, and, you know, what more can Mercedes do really to rectify the situation, to smooth it over, to improve it? That's where really the focus should be, because the key issue here is that Rosberg is in the lead in the World Championship. He's leading it for Mercedes. So I think it's hard to imagine Mercedes jeopardising that internally, but at the same time they've got to do something, because otherwise the two drivers could jeopardise it for them.
Christian, great insight. We're going to leave it there. Many thanks for joining us there from our London studios over there in England. We appreciate it.
Happy to help.
Well, we can